Hey, it's Chris. Trying something new with the lighting. You like it? What do you need to know about the upcoming games next week? Short, sweet, and to the point this week, and there's only about a half a dozen that I'm going to be covering. So, little snippets, my preliminary thoughts, my picks of the week, everything else you need to know about the ones launching the week of the 17th and 18th of January. Let's do it. So what we got on the horizon? First up, check out my video from yesterday talking about Marvel Multiverse, Marvel United Multiverse, launching on the 18th. The question is not how am I going to pledge for it, it's how much am I going to pledge for it. We know that there are going to be several more unique things going along with this. This is the multiverse. If you're not familiar with the multiverse, I highly suggest you just do a little quick Google Marvel wiki sort of search, and then you get to realize there's all sorts of alternate versions of everything along the way. The three main points that you need to know: new solo playing as one hero version. 2, equipment cards that are going to be back compatible with all of the previous editions and games. 3, there's going to be a Spider-Man like Spider-Verse expansion that's coming to retail only in sometime mid-2023 that is also going to get out of their funk of doing two-wave shipping. It's going to be one-wave shipping only because of that. Not sure why, not sure what, but they've already put a little bit of details on their website. Like I said, did a video yesterday that dropped the same as my Kickstarter crowdfunding roundup video, so I'll throw the link above. You can check that out in addition. I'm super pumped by it. It's just a question of what am I going to get, and is it going to replace some of the stuff I have down there or over there, because I have a big box of it over there as well. So that's going to be the question, and it looks like cool stuff. I have no idea. I'm hoping no big miniature. Galactus is the biggest waste of money I'll see out there, and I hope that they don't bring that to the Marvel United universe like they did with Cthulhu Death May Die and Marvel Zombies. That's all I'm going to say on that. Now, next up, we have, right on the table here, Once Upon a Line from Lucky Duck Games. This one, scratch off and write. Believe me, it works better than it sounds. I'll have my full review up either now over the weekend or potentially just right before the campaign. This one is something to watch out for. Lucky Duck has really done a great job thinking outside of the box. It's just going to be how well received is this by the general niche crowd that we fall into oftentimes in these scenarios. And I'm assuming that there's going to be more than one box to go along with it, like the Destinies when Destinies originally launched, and they had like 2 or 3 expansions, I believe, to go along with it, because this box is actually titled The Butterfly's Breath. So I expect there to be more where this came from, and this to be another system that Lucky Duck sort of tucks under their sleeve and says, okay, we can adapt this, we can use this, we can expand on this, especially if it does really well, like Destinies, because now we've seen a lot of Destinies, we've seen what Destinies can do, and they've been able to use the app in multiple different variable ways, and that's why this is super intriguing and super interesting. Again, if you want more information, my review will be out in the next 48 hours, so no spoilers, but something to be definitely watching for. I'd say that's the sleeper pick of the week by far. There you go. Facade Games. Hollywood 1947, also putting out the other Tortuga, Salem, years I can't remember off the top of my head, but very, very well thought of, solid social deduction games. This one is just that. You have 2 different factions that you're going to be going up against as either, the Hollywood elite or the communists. And can you pick them out? Can you take your roles? Can you do your jobs? Can you find out what you need to find out on? And it's just another nice quality game from them. Again, another one I will be having a review out on very, very shortly. You can see a little bit of what this entails, not too much spoilers, but these are massive cards that are being going along with it. You've got your movies that you're going to be trying to produce and the various jobs of the actors, actresses, set production folks that are going to be producing it as their actions on a turn-by-turn basis. So what else do you need to know? I mean, I would assume that this is going to be in line, and not having played many of their others, this is different enough, but it's also going to be something you can have alongside of or separately from their games if you already have a couple of their collections, just as I've seen and heard other people talk about them similarly in that aspect. Next up, we have Aegis, the season 2 of the sort of combination of Power Rangers and sort of Transformers, where you're basically custom creating your own robot to go head-to-head competitively against other people. And this one was sort of a sleeper hit. I think actually Dice Tower's review of it when it came out actually boosted its reputation and its sort of under the radar to a little bit more above the radar. And so season 2 is going to be very interesting to see what they can do to capitalize on it, how they can make it better, what more they can add in, because often a game like this, you get your legs with the first game, and once you get some footing, once you get some traction, you can see what you can really do. I mean, I'm thinking more along the lines of something like Aeon's End, right? Like Aeon's End was fine. Aeon's End War Eternal was the one that, you know, most of the time when people are saying, which one should I start with? Boom, the second one, because it corrects some of the errors of the first one, it streamlines things, and it just makes things better overall. So that's what I'm expecting in this version of things. What they've said on this is dozens of new robots, new commanders, pre-built teams that you can do, a new game mode, a new solo mode, 2-player drafting rules. So they're adding a lot. And that's the only thing I would be cautious of. Are you biting off more than you can chew? You can combine both boxes though, and they're 100% cross-compatible. So what it sounds like with that description as well is that you can get standalone. It's not necessarily an expansion. It's more like Marvel United, X-Men, or like I mentioned, Aeon's End, War Eternal, and that's a blessing curse depending on how you feel about this. And because if the second one is truly better, do you need to get the first one? Or if you have the first one already, are you going to feel like the second one replaces it? That'd be my only caution in the situation. But I think from Zephyr Workshop, this is going to be one to watch as well to sort of see how fast it launches and how much traction it gets, because I could see this one surpassing expectations if it can get over the groundswell of those other 3 games that I already mentioned that are going to get some traction in the first place by name recognition alone. Next up, we have Coal Baron. Coal Baron is actually a 2013 game, but it's getting a deluxified version on the 17th from CNC Publishing. We are getting a new version of this worker placement Euro game that's been out of print, and apparently, per the forums, a little bit higher, pricier demand on the secondary market. And it says there are 2 unique things about this game. One, you have an action square that's actually unlocked as you have workers on it, meaning you can place more workers on it when there are already a worker on it in the first place. Then you have over 3 round scoring conditions that are going to evolve as you go along throughout the rounds. You're going to have majority points that are scored up at the end of each round. The person with the most majority points gets the most bonus points, and that's going to change because there's going to be more and more of them available in each round. So subsequently, it's going to change, and there's going to be some flux and variation as you go along. New and improved graphics, new and improved deluxifications that you would expect with a worker placement Euro game coming to crowdfunding nowadays. And this one, thankfully enough, wasn't just put out 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And so it is getting almost a decade. This is more of a maybe 10th anniversary edition, if you want to call it that, rather than, you know, a game that has 2 or 3 other versions in the past decade. I'm not speaking of anything in particular that also uses dice and some drop, but you know what I'm talking about from that aspect. So it's nice to see at least it's outside of the 5-year margin. I mean, the basic concept is you're German miners wishing for another luck, sending miners underground to dig tunnels, acquire coal that's going to come in 4 levels of quantity that's going to be used to fulfill contracts. Is it great? Is it better than some of the more recent Euros? I mean, for a game from 2013, has a 7.3 rating on Board Game Geek. It's in the top 700-ish. So is this going to rise to popularity? Because it has 4,600 ratings as well, so it's not a complete unknown either, but just can it stand up to the test of time that we've seen from the greatness of other worker placement Euro games in the last, you know, half decade, to stay with the last half decade, if you will? That's more of the question. Next up, we have Arborea, which is launching on the 16th, one day earlier than all of the others this week, apart from Marvel United Multiverse, which is launching one day later on the 18th. This is a worker placement Euro game where they say time, planning ahead, is key, because not only are you going to be placing your worker placements, but you're going to be putting them on action tracks to pilgrimage across them, because you're going to advance them and moving all of the workers with them as you go along. And as these action tracks move, the better rewards are gained as the workers get activated. Different seasons, different terrains, different ways of building as the rounds go along, attracting different animals to your locations in the first place. So it's going to be a kind of a variable aspect. It's from Facade Games. The artwork is absolutely fantastic on it. It definitely has a different vibe. I like the vibrancy of it. I don't know though. I've seen Alleycat's other previous games that have been on crowdfunding in the last 2 or 3 years, and they've all been good. You know, Amon-Ra was over on GameFound, and that one is probably the most notable one, but the rest of them are sort of good but not great. Same thing with Chocolate Factory, Tinner's Trail, Welcome to Dino World, Autobahn, the ones that are thought of that of good but nothing like outstanding necessarily. So we'll see if this one can break the mold. I definitely like the aesthetic more so than the other ones I just mentioned there. So as a non-Euro person, it already has me more intrigued from that aspect. And last up, this is number 3 in the series of Epic Spell, Wars of the Battle Wizards, Annihilageddon, the Satanic Panic. So take that for what you will. But what you're going to be getting in here from this Cryptozoic deck building game is this is a one against many throwdown, they say. You're just going up head to head with a familiar and a wizard's unique abilities, and you're causing panic as you crusade against all of your destructive demons that are going to be coming out against you. Based on the board game geek description, more chaotic panic inducing with this Cerberus system that they've developed for this style of game in the first place. So we'll see what they got. I know this has been well funded and well supported in the past. It's definitely not been to my vibe, but does well. People like it, so why not put out more of it? That's the attitude. That's the motto at this point. So that is the crowdfunding roundup to expect in the next week. Obviously, some higher ones that are going to, at least from my expectations, get more funds, but again, I kind of want to see what else is out there. I mean, I know stuff is lurking. January's not going to die down without too much of a squeal, I think. But February's also sort of rising up there, and we'll see what else it has in store for us. Again, short and sweet this week. Very happy that you could tune in. Patreon below. They got a sneak peek at one of the videos earlier this week. If you want more of that, let me know what you think. Trying the new lighting thing, like I mentioned, so maybe a little less amateur, as I was told earlier this week as well. A couple videos getting a couple traction. The KDM lovers are bashing back at me for saying Aeon Trespass Odyssey is better than it. But you know what? Opinions are opinions for a reason. I got nothing else here. Kid stuff, family stuff, play some stuff. Stay classy. See you around.